This is Pete.
This is Allie.
Oh.
And we're doing drunk review.
This is
Women's History Month with margaritas because it's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you guys did it like this.
Pete is learning.
Hence
He's
the
learning.
review part of the drunk.
We might be taking you home tonight.
Take me home tonight. I want to review a cool chick that does movies.
So, who are we talking about, Pete?
This week we're talking about Gina Prince-Bythewood.
Ooh.
Bythewood. Who is alright, just spoiler alert. She's like one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, I know.
Ever. The year was 2000.
Uh-oh.
And a young, hopeless romantic Pete went into a movie theater because he wanted to see some movie about basketball and also love. And no one would go with me.
Aww.
And nobody knew of my friend group how good it was. And they just made fun of me for liking that movie. But it is like still to this day one of my favorite movies.
Was it Basketball Diaries?
It was not. It was Love and Basketball.
Okay.
So why was it one of your favorite movies?
It was just, we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that. But one of the things, so bring it to modern times, was it last year?
Yes.
Quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
When they announced that Sony
Yes, Sony Spider-Man.
is making a movie based off of Spider-Man characters, Sable and the Black Cat.
Yeah.
Who I
baby.
know very little about because I don't follow Spider-Man, even though we share the same first name. At least one of them does. But they announced the movie was that they were going to make a movie based on these two characters, and that the director of the movie would be Gina Prince-Bythewood.
Woo!
So,
Girl
yeah,
power.
so that was really exciting for me, in a lot of ways, because I feel like her movies are all very different.
Mm-hmm.
Her movies are, from each other. But they all have something in common, which is just like something we talk about in like the geek community, like world building.
Yes. Yes.
Which seems a funny thing for like contemporary movies to have, or even slightly historical movies, like The Secret Life of Bees.
Right.
But just everyone in the background, everyone who has a speaking line, everyone who has an opportunity to like make an expression in one of her movies is communicating something, and something that's very deliberate, and something that came from her mind.
Nice.
And so that was the thing that like I would love to see, that kind of thought that just seems to come naturally to her as a director and a writer. I would love to see that, applied to a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Among a lot of the other things that she brings to the table that we don't see in a lot of superhero movies, that we see in the best of superhero movies.
Yes.
But almost nowhere else.
I feel like with her history with The Secret Life of Bees, like the Wasp, like she should help direct that.
I mean, honestly,
you're the helpfulest.
I would not be mad about her directing the Wasp in the Ant-Man movie.
That's true.
I mean, in all honesty.
That's the first thing that pops in my head. I'm like, buzz, buzz, buzz.
I am passingly familiar with Gina Prince-Bythewood. I saw Love and Basketball. I saw The Secret Life of Bees. And what's interesting for me is that I feel like she's had such a varied career. She doesn't do a lot of movies, but when she does, they're very distinct and very different from the previous thing she did. Mm-hmm. So I am actually very interested, because it's another female director heading a superhero movie with female characters. And I am so here for that. I don't think that male directors can't handle it, but I think there's something to be said of having a female voice behind a female movie.
Right. It's not even relevant, like whether there are good male directors. That's understood. It's this strange narrative that we have to put these established names out there, or people who have made tons
blockbusters,
of movies,
right?
Who then get the keys to the castle, but then we don't give them largely to women and people of color.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have different friends who had different upbringings, and now I like make fewer excuses for them these days. But
I
they were the
wonder
people,
why.
They were the people who would come to my house and would see that that I had two of of all the movies I had, which included all the entire John Cusack Sad Boy collection.
Yeah.
John Cusack in the Rain.
Yeah.
I had what movies that were in that theme, but that people always gravitated to, which was The Wood and Love and Basketball.
Oh my God, I haven't seen The Wood in forever.
We should review that.
We should totally review that. Look for that to happen, guys, because I have not seen that.
Fan of The Wood.
Right.
I bet you are.
I mean, I thought we were talking about movies. But
Yeah.
But time and time again, they would look and they would ask me, it was like, oh, does this remind you of your youth as a young black man growing in Compton? And I'm like,
No.
oh, you're very funny. But like those two movies were so relatable to me, like just as a teenager, as a person who like grew up and had like crazy friends, but just the level that, and I'm going to focus on Love and Basketball because I've seen it more than any of her other movies.
Okay, last time I talked to you, you'd seen it 40
I've
times.
seen it probably more than 20 times.
You said 40 the last
I
time. I'm sorry, let me explain. Let me clarify. He says 20. His wife says 40. I'm going to take his wife's estimate
Fair enough.
as the one that's the
It's
actual.
probably like third or fourth behind Star Wars, like movies I've seen more than probably all the first three trilogy, and then Love and Basketball. But the thing is like I used that movie because it was obviously a passion project for her as a writer and a director, but also it was a director who had done television, had done or written for television at least, and had done Disappearing Acts, her first movie. This was like a sports movie.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just people who who had these jobs that had to do with sports or were college athletes. There was a lot of that drama, there was a lot of that personal part, but like the fact that she could go from like these really intimate moments to believable action sports scenes, which I feel like the most veteran directors don't always get right, and this was her second major motion picture.
Yeah. When you said that, it made me think of Any Given Sunday.
All right.
And how I am passingly familiar with football because my husband loves American football and I am not American. So I didn't grow up with that. But there were moments in that movie that threw both of us out of it because we're like, that's not how that football works.
Right.
And Love and Basketball, as somebody who played terribly, terrible basketball player, but yeah, I was really bad.
I was really good at like running into people, and
I was great at volleyball.
And
Yes, but terrible at basketball.
Oh,
I broke a girl's nose once.
That's not how
I
basketball
feel like that's
works.
separate from the sports thing. Like,
Well, actually twice, but this time in basketball. Sorry. Anyway.
But yeah, as someone who played and who enjoys basketball a great deal, those scenes in that movie felt like you were in the middle of a game. And that's what it's supposed to feel like when you film a sports movie. You should feel like you're inside of the game and inside of how it happens. And she does a great job with that, which is one of the reasons why I really look forward to the action scenes. Because not everybody can film action. It's one of the things that will throw me out of a film. But if you can handle a really good basketball scene, you can handle an action scene.
I feel like she won't double dribble or travel too much.
Exactly.
With this directing.
But
I think of like the transition Jon Favreau made,
yes.
the transition Patty Jenkins made as a director of like I've never done this kind of action work before, and now this is just directing.
Yeah.
And but primarily to me, Gina Prince-Bythewood is an actor's director.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
that's the part where like as a fan of superhero movies, and we have like absolute good and absolute bad. The thing that I love about like the relationships that her characters have is that like you can feel love even when people are fighting. You can feel love even when they hate each other.
Yes.
Yes. the relationship between Quincy and his father in Love and Basketball. Like, there's so much anger that comes later, and then there's this, just reverence that's there at the beginning, and how that same love is like contained there. The relationship between Sonali and her
mother was Alfred Woodard.
Alfred Woodard.
Yeah.
It's like the best 80s, and like she basically, like, between her and Diane Wiest,
she was
those were like
everybody's
my
mom.
movie moms, right?
Yes.
And Felicia Rashad.
Yes.
But it's just, there's pain in these conversations, and there's fun in these conversations, and like you can tell, like, there's inside jokes. I love when like Monica and Quincy are like, even when they're fighting, when they're quipping with each other, they haven't seen each other in 5 years, and there's like this sadness that she's able to get, like when you see someone you loved after that much time, and then they're immediately joking with each other, and he's
you fall back in the old pattern.
And the way, he teases her when she like trips in her heels, and the way he owns it, the way he like knows who she is and calls her on it, and the way she knows who he is and calls him on it. And I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie that kind of explains, like, I feel like the kind of director that she is there's a scene when they're next door neighbors, Quincy and Monica.
Yeah.
And when Q hears his parents arguing, he gets up from sleep, grabs a pillow or something, but he opens his window, climbs over, knocks on her window, and she opens up, like, she gets out of bed, walks straight to the window, opens it up, turns around, throws a blanket on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, nothing is explained, nothing is said, like, it's just there, like they've done it like
a million
like they
times
were kids
before.
who had done that a million times before and knew each other that well, and there's nothing calls attention to it.
No.
You just feel it and it just happens. And I feel like that whole movie, and there's other parts of like Secret Life of Bees where it feels like you're just watching people react to each other.
Well, you mean to tell me that she's a director who shows and doesn't tell you?
Ooh.
What?
You mean to tell me there's a secret
It's like
life
storytelling
of
101.
Yeah, basically. Like, you mean that's the whole purpose of the film and television genre? You don't have to keep telling me the relationship, show me. And Gina Prince-Bythewood is very good at that. And it's one of the things I'm really looking... Well, when Pete found out, and I kid you guys not, so I am, as any of you who've watched these before, I'm involved with like 8 million things. And all of a sudden, I know, right? My phone starts going nuts. It starts going bananas. And I'm like, what is happening? And it's Pete. Did you hear the news? And I'm like, what news? Yeah. I'm like, what news? Because I'm not online because I'm running from like location A to location B. And I'm like, I haven't been on the internet. I'm trying to drive. What's happening? And he's like, Gina Prince-Bythewood is going to be a love interest. It's going to be shooting Black Cats over Sable. And I'm like, that's awesome. And then I'm like, but I gotta talk to you later. He's like, no, I'm gonna send you 8 more. No. It's time for me to send you 8 more texts. It was brilliant.
She should have been, try again. Try again.
Your reaction is not hype enough. And I'm like, I am hype, but I'm also in traffic. So you're gonna have to calm down.
I'm excited.
I know. I am genuinely excited because one of the things, and if you guys go to the website, by this point, the Jessica Jones review should be up. One of the things that I find lacking in a lot of superhero movies in general, and the MCU in particular, is this, you keep telling me how I'm supposed to feel about people. And you're not letting, but their actions aren't dictating what you're telling me. And Gina Prince-Bythewood does such a good job of A, letting you feel it, not telling you how you're supposed to feel, just let you come to your own conclusions about who these people are. And B, actually letting characters be who they are. People live in shades of gray. In real life, people live in shades of gray.
And they're not 50.
And they're not, yeah. And...
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Took it.
And I called it, took a second. And people, in real life, people are allowed to be messed up. So it's okay. In Love and Basketball, one of the things I personally liked about that movie was that they were who they were. They were who they were, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, and like you said, but you can still love somebody and not agree with them and not blindly follow the line of what they're telling you. And so I really want to see how she brings that mindset of just letting people be people to a genre film like that. And I gotta give Sony credit. I did not see that coming. Like, at all. That was the last thing I was expecting was them, for not only for them to do Black Cat and Silver Sable, but to hire a woman, female director, and then hire a woman of color as the director.
How I feel is they finally hired a director who could do this film.
Ooh, that is a good point.
Because I feel like there are, and maybe it's, I don't want to be cynical about how people get chosen, but I do feel like, you know, Suicide Squad was massive. But I feel like there is like okay, this is the main character, this is the spin-off character, and it can be trusted.
Yeah.
You know, it can be trusted over here, and we have to have this kind of director for our big
budget movie.
At the same time, it's going to give those characters justice as
Right.
they should be. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
With Black Cat, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact that it's not going to be just Spider-Man's
Hot chick.
love interest.
His second-rate Catwoman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like she is so much more.
Yeah.
And I feel like.
But in the hands of the wrong direction, she would be second-rate Catwoman.
It's like how I
she
feel.
would be Halle Berry.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. How I have felt about the Venom movie.
Yeah.
And why I'm not really excited about it.
Yeah.
Is I feel like this is a movie it tells me this is a character that can't exist without Spider-Man.
Yes.
The same is
even
not
the
true.
Even the trailers say that. Yeah.
But you know, but in this case, you have two characters who are maybe even more. They almost need the context more to know who they are. Who all of a sudden I feel confident we didn't even have to like say the words Spider.
Yeah.
Did the whole movie.
Because here's the thing, Felicia and Silver Sable, whose name I can never remember, and it's funny because she's one of my favorite characters, are fully rounded people who happen to be connected to Spider-Man. But they have their own adventures and their own stories that have nothing to do with Peter or Miles. They are who they are, and they have this whole interior life thing, you know, that doesn't have anything to do with that. And that's okay.
Really?
Yeah, it's okay for female characters to be
and they can be
not connected to dudes.
They can be complex.
They can be complex female
codependent
characters.
on a penis.
Yeah.
That is super fun.
I know, right?
Oh my god.
Yo, it's
like,
only the 21st century and we're finally
just
figuring
real
it out.
quick, if you do want some back history on these characters coming up, easy breezy. You can do the whole Wikipedia shit.
Or TV tropes.
But the Marvel Encyclopedia is always my go-to.
Yes.
It's very thorough. It's a book.
It's a book!
It's a book.
You know you need it, fucking read it. It's a book.
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 It's a book. I just want you all to know that we did not practice that, but that was perfect.
That was beautiful.
Shit.
That was like on point.
It really was. So now that we sang about it, what is the book?
So
Hi, baby.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm not 100% sure of which character I'm reading about, etc., etc. I mean, I do, but some people don't.
Yeah.
These wonderful things, they're encyclopedias by Marvel. And you can also do online.
You can get
they're going to be a little bit more updated. But this is one of my favorite go-tos. If you want a little backstory of a character, and ironically enough, I flip open and Legion, which we're going to be discussing very soon, is right on there. And you just get a little ditty about Jack and Diane. And, you know, you get who they're from, what their powers are, and it's just so much fun. It's fun to read.
Yes.
This is where I can learn about Black Cat and Silver Sable.
There you go.
Before the movie.
Yeah.
Or you can just borrow my comic
I can just
books.
go in blind like I did with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah,
You
I
could.
think in some ways you
Then
may
you
have
can-
enjoyed that more.
And then you can learn about it afterwards. Be
Yeah.
like, I liked this, let
me go read a book.
or I want to like this, let me read another
Let me read the book.
This public
Yes.
service announcements were brought to you by Drunk Reviews.
AKA, read a book.
Read a book. So,
Comic
Yeah.
books are fun.
that being said,
Wow.
this drunk review is about one Miss Gina Prince-Bythewood.
Holla.
Holla! Thank you for giving us amazing films, and we cannot wait to see what you do next with Black Cat and Silver Sable. And this is Pete. Oh,
This
wait,
is
no.
Belle. And you're
This is
still
what
out.
happens when we pregame.
It's Freaky Friday.
And that's Allie.
I'm Allie. Or my Pete.
You might be now.
Are we all Pete?
We're all Pete. We're all Pete.
We're all Pete.
You're all Pete. And this is Drunk Review from Pop Culture Uncovered.
Where can you find us?